Fold. Fold. Pull. Pull. Sell. Sell.
Hey guys, we're here today. We're going to talk about a film that Pete here has completely recommended to me. So it's called Under the Skin, starring Scarlett Johansson. Anyway, Pete's going to tell you what it's about.
Just yeah, I'd heard about this film and meant to see it, but finally got round to it the other day. It's an unusual film. It's set in Glasgow, but it's got a Hollywood star in it, which is strange to say the least. The basic plot is she is from another world. She's an alien basically, and she's driving around modern day Glasgow in a battered white transit van, picking up men on the streets, day and night, for her own dark purposes. And that's the premise of the film, and much of the film is spent following her around with sort of cameras set inside the van. She parks up, she'll wind the window down, pretend to be lost, engage guys in conversation. And apparently, one of the cool things about the film is a lot of the guys who were featured in those scenes weren't aware that they were actually in a movie until afterwards. So it's got a very naturalistic sort of.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's apparently so. Yeah, so
Okay.
a lot of the guys, she's just parking up. There's a security team in the back of the van.
That's made the film even weirder for me.
And she'll park up. She's dressed like a hoe basically, if I can use that word. She's got a tatty fur coat on, short skirt, tatty black wig, but she's an alien in disguise, and she's chatting up these guys. Some of them, they'll say, "Oh no, I'm just picking up the family," and she'll be like, "All right, no worries," and she'll leave them to it. What she's trying to do is she's targeting loners, if you like, or outcasts of society. That's the basic premise. She's luring these guys to go with her, and then she's doing strange and bizarre things with them. And that's pretty much the basic plot, isn't it?
Yeah, strange and bizarre to say the least. Because I watched this knowing nothing. I read no reviews or anything, and I don't know where to start. But let's start with the director, who is Jonathan Glazer.
Yeah.
I actually looked through his IMDb to see what else he'd done, and I didn't recognise anything.
What was it?
He's a low-key director. You could actually, watching the film, you'll realise it's quite a low-budget film. It's definitely a B movie where
It's almost student movie, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Film 4 type, lottery funded type thing.
Yeah, but not that takes away from it, because in fact it gives a lot to it, that there has to be stronger characters and not relying on any special effects.
Well, I think that's one of the key things about the movie, is it feels like a Channel 4 documentary, studenty type film, and it's set in Glasgow. You've got your Gregs, TK Maxx. She's walking through shopping centres. She's not being recognised by anyone, and it's Scarlett Johansson. So that plays into the theme of an alien, walking around in an environment where she doesn't belong.
What about? Have you read any of his other books? This is Michael Faber.
Michael Faber. I thought it was Michael Faber myself. I don't know, but
Dutchman.
Apparently, no, I've never heard of him. I didn't know until after the film that it was loosely based on a novel. I have read a quick synopsis of the novel, and the novel is apparently quite different, because it's written from the point of view of her. So you find out a lot more than you do in the movie.
So yeah.
Which I don't know, to be honest. I prefer the movie's take, which is where you're left in the dark for a lot of it, and you really don't know what the hell's going on.
Absolutely. From the word go, from the very start, from the first 2 seconds, you're going to be going, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like I was for the first hour and a half.
Yeah.
But I was reading a synopsis on the book, and it sounds like there's actually quite a lot more depth to it.
Yeah, there's backstory.
There's an alien homeworld that the humans are being pawned off to.
Yeah.
They're actually, like, the humans
Seriously,
are in demand, and
watch the movie before you read the book.
Whoa.
Definitely.
In case you've probably figured this out already, but this is a spoiler video, so you should have watched this to just get our take on the film.
Put some text at the beginning there. Sorry.
Yeah, text at the beginning. You've already read it. So yeah, to say it's a strange film. I mean, okay, as Pete said, that Scarlett Johansson's going around the place. She's picking up these blokes. Okay, I mean, at the start, you can kind of accept it. Yeah, fine. It kind of plays out like it's a serial killer going around.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Until the first studio shot, the first victim that you see, okay? It's like he's a football chavvy kind of guy.
Yeah, he's just a base-willing, lad from Glasgow. And if I remember right, she lures him in. They're in a black space, aren't they? They can only describe it.
Everywhere's a black space.
It's a black space. She's walking backwards, slowly undressing. People have described it as erotic, but by now I was so freaked out already by the movie that I was like, she can take her clothes off. I don't care. I'm still terrified. The guy strips off. He seems to be hypnotised by her. He's following her like a dog or something. And then I think the first guy where they do the thing where he basically sinks into the black floor and vanishes.
So all of them. Yeah. All of them do this, but
well, you get to see a bit more of that as the film progresses.
The first one's the most shocking because obviously she's just walking across the floor and he starts sinking, and like Jesus on water kind of thing going on.
It's like Tari's walking into or something.
Yeah. So
and the key thing here with these scenes is the music as well. The music's got this reedy, surreal sort of tune kicks in.
It's got a 70s. It's got a Clockwork Orange. Very powerful synth feel, and there's no speech. In fact,
I think if you're a certain age, as I am, you'll be straight away. You're back to
memory lane,
Sapphire and Steel. All the weird sort of sci-fi stuff that freaked you out when you were 5 years old. I think
it was similar to that Elijah Wood film that came out last year.
So at that point I'm thinking, wow, that was weird, that's strange, let's see where it goes. And they kind of rinse and repeat. There's a very harrowing scene on a beach, which she is involved with or she's passively watching. Again, spoilers, but basically she's chatting a bloke up. She finds herself on a rocky beach somewhere near Glasgow, I presume. There's a surfer dude from Czechoslovakia somewhere. She's chatting him up. He's like not really taking her on, is he, at that point? He's not really interested. There's a little family down the beach though, a few hundred yards down the beach, and the mother gets into trouble in the sea. The dad, middle-aged dad, runs in after her and leaving a little child behind on the beach. The surfer dude goes, oh my god, he just runs off to help. Fails, swims out into the seas crashing against the rocks. He fails, he drags the dad out, he's knackered on the floor. The dad runs back in. And then Scarlett Johansson, or I think her name's Laura actually.
It's even weirder.
Yeah.
It's alien name.
Yeah, well, whatever it is. Yeah, I think she gives the name Laura to somebody, but she saunters up the beach, having watched all this, like somebody watching ants crawling over a sugar cube, and clubs the surfer in the head with a pebble, and then drags him away. Leaving the little 1-year-old kid
that was
just alone on the beach. And as a dad, I had to stop the movie there and go and have a cup of tea.
Pretty distressing.
I was harrowed. It's just awful. And but it's just she's not like a villain, and she's not a bad guy. She just doesn't care. She cares as much as you would care about Mars bars or something. She just walks up and takes what she wants. And
it's strange because as the film goes on, you get to realise that the pacing of the film is so slow, and like they keep on throwing in irrelevant scenes, and could pass her by trains and whatever. And on a first watch, you know what? You're literally thinking, what has this got to do with the film?
Yeah, but
what's all the scenery? But the whole thing is building up that she ends up wanting to kind of become a person.
Yeah.
But she isn't really sure how.
You could almost say the people that she's walking around amongst get under her skin. She starts to sympathise, maybe. Very, very slowly, like Si says. But it's just really well done. The shots of trains going by, vans, football crowds going past a van while she just sits there.
It happens all the time. There's just non-stop scenes of her face just looking at nothing, and to be honest, it's good acting to portray all these emotions.
She's got the look on her face of a farmer gazing over a flock of sheep. You know,
yeah.
Disinterested, just keeping an eye on him. You know, watching them pass by. It's really good. And then later on, there's quite a touching scene where she meets the guy with the I don't know what the technical name for it is, but there's a guy with the facial disfigurement, isn't there?
Yeah, that was. You know what? I mean, that was kind of an interesting scene because everyone obviously thought, this isn't going to happen. This is, you know, he had so many reasons to reject her, but
yeah,
but he did. He went for it. It just felt like, I can't, you know.
Yeah.
The same trap worked.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and then
out of all of them, he's the one who's kind of more. He's guarded, isn't he? Obviously, because you know the characters led a life of being careful around people. You will presume.
Yeah.
He's very
didn't.
Careful, but
he didn't get her. He didn't get why she was interested.
Yeah.
Whereas the other guys didn't care, like
Yeah.
because they just had this. I'm gonna get her. Whereas he was just, no, I don't know what this is a trick.
Yeah.
And he knew. But the one part of the story I really, it was a long time to kind of get it and click with it. But the other alien, with her, he just has snippets in it now and then. They literally just chuck him in this for a second and
so every now and then. So as you'll know if you've seen it, there's a guy on a motorbike, never speaks. He just he shows up afterwards. He seems to be the clean-up guy. He's just a guy in leathers on a bike speeding around Glasgow, cleaning up anything that needs cleaning up after she's done what.
It was strange his part because he didn't actually seem like he was relevant to the story.
Yeah, but
even at the end, like the ending, when you know what happens because you've seen it. But the ending, then you just see him and it's like, well, did he care?
He's failed at the end, doesn't he? He's just. You know, he's just got one task at that point, hasn't he? And that's to find her, and he's not going to find her. So he's, we presume, still out there searching with his three mates because three others show up, don't they?
Did you find a lot of this film was very art house porno?
Yeah.
Call it. There was a lot of this. I'm going to call it like 90s music video kind of. Oh, here's a very yellow scene when you know the opacity of someone would fade into someone, and this sort of thing was going on a lot. I don't know if it was meant to symbolize something or if there was anything more to it, but it just seemed a bit. A little bit over the top at times. I felt like you know.
I thought it was just two tones to it for me. There was the out there in Glasgow, you know, wandering around. Everyday streets that we all recognise, and then the surreal alien scenes, if you like. They're completely tonally different, weren't they? You know.
Yeah.
I don't know, it jarred maybe a little, but it didn't ruin it for me or anything like that. You know.
So overall, what do we think of the acting for the whole way through?
Well, there isn't that much acting. I mean, a lot of the guys are just behaving naturally because they didn't know they're on camera. Apparently, the guy I think it's Adam Pearson who plays the guy with the you know the facial disfigurement,
right? And
he's acted before, I believe, and he was really good. I thought he was really natural and realistic.
Yeah.
You know. Apart from that, there's not much acting in it. It's just her going around in the van and
even Hansen, I thought it was a strange role to play. It wasn't a normal, like there wasn't any emotions. Actually, in fact, that's the thing. She had to be so emotionless.
Yeah. Well, she switches. There's one scene where she's chatting a guy up and he's not suitable for whatever reason, and she says, "All right, okay," and she just switches off and drives away. And you know that she just shuts down. And she's not interested. She's not speaking anymore, and she's back into search mode. She did pretty well, I think. Yeah, I think it's a massive, refreshing change. You know, from the usual Hollywood fare and other stuff she's been in. I think The Lost in Translation is the closest I would have thought. You know, where it's a lot of staring out of windows. You know, and
we just watch and see what happens.
Yeah, but this didn't feel slow to me. This film, it felt like I was just waiting to see where was it going.
I agree. Yeah.
What the hell's going on? What are they doing with these men? You find out snippets of that, don't you? But you don't find out the whole story, I don't think. And where, you know, how's it going to end? So it dragged me quite through it. It felt quite quick to me. Actually.
What about? Did you think it was directed well? The entire directing.
Well, like I say, it was a documentary style, wasn't it? So there's a lot of on the street. There's a lot walking through shopping malls.
I felt it was very student and B movie at times.
Yeah.
Now it kind of got the atmosphere quite a lot. You know, I don't know if Glasgow is the best city to demonstrate how loving people are. I think that was a bit of a strange choice, but then you know what, a city's a city, and I suppose it has a kind of a unique stance on people. Like, you know, if that was in the Bahamas,
Yeah.
I think it might have been an easier sell.
I don't know.
Oh,
It's just-
an easier sell for people, for the watchers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know how it went down, you know, in America and that, but being British, seeing her playing an alien, walking around, you know, going past H. Samuel and all the usual shops, and there's grannies walking past smoking fags, dragging kids along, and they're real grannies, you know, walking past dragging kids along. It just made it, God, this is like, you know, this is just a normal, ordinary, real street, and she's doing all this weird stuff on it. Made it very grounded in reality for me. I thought, yeah, it's really good. If it had been in set, or you know, set in New York or anything like that, I don't think it would have grabbed me the same way.
Yeah,
It's your own. It's like your own high street, you know.
Yeah, I think if it was in New York, or if it had a high budget or New York, it would have felt a little bit more pushed. I think that it would have been a lot more script and people acting.
That's it. There's barely any dialogue as well throughout the film.
I was thinking last night watching it that the ending, if the ending hadn't have been the way it was, which I thought was a fantastic ending,
Yeah.
if it hadn't have ended like that and she was just a crazy woman or something, I don't think it would have had the same impact at all. I think it would have failed on a lot of levels.
No, I think it needed the payoff of the ending, didn't it? Where, you know,
It was well done.
She's revealed and the skin comes off, and you see what she looks like underneath, sort of thing. Played by a different woman, apparently, that alien in the last scene. The woodsman, very sinister guy out in the woods with his truck full of logs. Sort of has a nice, very tense chat with her, doesn't she? She's bumbling around the woods, not really knowing who she is anymore or what's going on. And he's sort of like, "You all right, love?" You know, and all this, and immediately like, this guy's a threat. She's not the threat anymore now. He's the threat.
Without having not read the book or whatever, it seemed like men just got attracted to her. Like, you know, they just turn into a rapist suddenly, and that isn't a normal thing to just happen.
I think she'd switched that off by then, hadn't she? Because at the scene,
I don't think she had any control over it. That's what
yeah, it could be. I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think one key is if you touch her, you're under a spell. That seems to be the mechanic of it, you know.
Yeah, there was definitely, I don't think it was even a touch. It seemed like she had to say enough to you, and then...
Yeah, I think natural, you know, human male behaviour takes you so far, and then she grabs your hand and that's it, you're done.
Yeah, well, you could definitely, that was definitely portrayed.
Yeah. You know, to summarise it, creepy as hell, that movie, and really well done. Brilliant choice to choose a Hollywood star and put her in, you know, the very ordinary streets of Glasgow doing this story. Just brilliant. One of the best I've seen in quite a few years.
Very strange, very unique.
Yeah.
Thanks for having Pete along here, and cool. We'll see you next time,
Cheers,
right?
guys. See ya.